In the first 6 episodes of this series, we picked two-thirds of the 2023 regular season schedule, jumping around all 272 games, looking at a variety of factors that make them more predictable. With less than 100 games left to pick, it's time to make some tough decisions. There are several excellent matchups for the first week of the 2023 regular season. One of the most intriguing contests to be played has to be the early game between San Francisco and Pittsburgh. It'll be the first season in 9 years in which Pittsburgh opens the regular season at home, and it'll be the third straight year Pittsburgh opens against a team that played in a conference championship game. Both Pittsburgh and San Francisco have great defenses, and both are expected to start second-year quarterbacks in this game, but McCaffrey, Kittle, and Debo can make plays against anyone, and that's why I'm picking San Francisco. Another game to keep an eye on Week 1 will happen when Philadelphia plays New England in the late afternoon. This offseason, Philadelphia lost several good pieces from a defense that finished 2022 ranked number 2 overall, whereas New England added players and coaches to improve an offense that underperformed a year ago. This game will be the first featuring quarterback Jalen Hurts playing against a Bill Belichick coached team, and since Hurts isn't a rookie, I think he'll handle himself well and open the season with a win. Some people believe Miami had a championship team last season before their quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, got his second concussion of the season Week 16 during Miami's fourth loss in a row. I'd argue that Miami's downslope started 2 weeks earlier with their loss at Los Angeles. Miami returns to Los Angeles to start 2023, and I think they'll avenge last year's loss with a Week 1 win. Running back Derrick Henry and wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins in Tennessee are a dangerous combination, and together they should score more points than New Orleans in their first game with quarterback Derek Carr. From the owner's box to the offensive huddle, there'll be a lot of new faces in Washington this season, although their defense in 2023 should look a lot like their number 3 defense from 2022. Without knowing who will play quarterback in Arizona to start the season, it's hard to see them beating Washington. But Denver also has an excellent defense, and they should be able to hold down Washington in Week 2. Buffalo visits Washington the third week of the season, and this one has all the makings of a trap game. But I'm going to play it safe and pick Buffalo to win Week 3 in the nation's capital city. 2 games worth focusing on from the Week 2 schedule are Seattle at Detroit and New York at Dallas. When Seattle played Detroit last season, both teams scored 93 points combined in a wild game, which Detroit lost 48-45. Detroit's been the better team since that game. I expect them to avenge that loss from last season. New York and Dallas don't have much history, but both are known for being good at defending the pass. This tells me that the team with the better run game should win, and right now I think that team is Dallas. Heading into the season, there's a lot of hype about Chicago and a lot of skepticism about Tampa Bay. But Tampa Bay's defense was significantly better than Chicago's defense a year ago, and Tampa Bay's core of veteran receivers still rank much higher than the trio that will be representing Chicago. This is why I'm picking Tampa Bay to win their home opener Week 2. It just makes sense on paper. Los Angeles plays their only back-to-back away games during the second and third weeks of the season. Last season, Tennessee had the best run defense in football and the worst pass defense in football. Los Angeles is a pass-first team, and they should score a lot of points that way Week 2 in Tennessee. Minnesota is also a pass-first team, and they might have the best wide receiver in football today. But their defense was atrocious against the pass last year, and it's hard to see Los Angeles not scoring at least 30 points in a Week 3 victory. When Green Bay travels to Atlanta in Week 2, it will be Green Bay's second consecutive away game, as well as Atlanta's second consecutive game at home. Home field advantage is a real thing in football, so I'm picking Atlanta to win Week 2, but then lose Week 3 when they travel to Detroit. Week 3 will be the first time Green Bay and Miami play football games at home this season. Tua has a great record at home, especially when he stays healthy, and I don't see him losing Miami's first home game this season against Denver. In Episode 5, we picked New Orleans to get upset by Carolina in quarterback Bryce Young's first game at home. If New Orleans does start the season 0-2, then I would expect them to grit their way to a win Week 3. This October, Jacksonville will become the first team to play back-to-back games in the United Kingdom. The first game will be the first time Calvin Ridley plays against Atlanta since they traded him, and I could see the wide receiver having the game of a lifetime in the UK while leading Jacksonville to a win. By the time Jacksonville plays Buffalo, the players on Jacksonville will have spent well over a week in London. Athletes are creatures of habit, and those are hard to maintain staying on the road between games. That's why I'm picking Buffalo over Jacksonville in Week 5. Over the first 5 weeks of the season, Los Angeles plays 4 games against teams that made the playoffs last season. Future Hall of Famer Aaron Donald should lead Los Angeles to a much-needed win Week 4 at Indianapolis, but it's unlikely that Los Angeles will find a way to overcome Philadelphia when they play Week 5. The last 3 times Denver and Chicago played each other, Neither team scored more than 17 points. I expect another low-scoring game in 2023, with a tired Denver losing their second straight on the road. The next week, Denver's former head coach Nathaniel Hackett returns to the Mile High City as offensive coordinator of New York. I expect quarterback Aaron Rodgers to show up big for his good buddy, with Denver losing big time to New York. There was a 20-year period between 1999 and 2019 where New England didn't lose a game to Dallas. 2 seasons ago, Dallas reversed that trend with an overtime victory at New England. Dallas's defense gets a lot of attention, but New England was significantly better against the run last season. That's why I'm picking New England to get back on track against Dallas with a win Week 4. Week 5, New England hosts New Orleans, and I expect them to keep it rolling with a second win in a row. Kansas City at Minnesota in Week 5 could potentially be one of the highest scoring games of the 2023 season, and I like Kansas City to win it because they have Patrick Mahomes, and he typically wins high-scoring games. New York at Miami in Week 5 probably won't result in as many combined points as Kansas City and Minnesota, but Miami should have more than enough offense to win this game at home. Atlanta plays back-to-back games at home after their London game against Jacksonville. Washington beat Atlanta last season in a game where both teams gained more yards rushing than passing. Atlanta's offense was number 3 in rushing last season, yet they have more depth at running back now. That's why I'm picking Atlanta to run their way to a victory over Washington in Week 6. Although I think a little bit of an international hangover will get them upset Week 5 against Houston. Houston plays their second straight game against the NFC South when they host New Orleans in Week 6, and I don't think home field advantage will be enough to get Houston a second straight win. In the last 50 years of football, Philadelphia and New York have played each other 12 times in the regular season, and Philadelphia has won every game. New York has their bye schedule for Week 7, and I see them pulling out everything in their arsenal to change their history with Philadelphia by winning Week 6. After their bye, New York plays New York in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and I like New York to win this one as well. San Francisco plays at Cleveland after Cleveland comes off their bye, and I think the extra rest with the early start plus Cleveland's desperate need for a win will be the right combination to get them over San Francisco. Green Bay plays at Denver after their bye week, and I don't expect the extra rest to help them all that much. If running back Josh Jacobs isn't on the field for Las Vegas in Week 6, then it's hard to see how they beat Chicago. Back in Week 3 of the 2021 season, it looked like Detroit was going to secure the first career win for rookie head coach Dan Campbell until Baltimore kicker Justin Tucker made the longest field goal in football history. I like Baltimore to stop a 2-game losing streak Week 7 against Detroit, maybe with a late fourth quarter field goal, and until we know about quarterback Kyler Murray's return, I'm also picking Baltimore to win Week 8 at Arizona. That same week, New Orleans plays Indianapolis, and since New Orleans has trouble defending mobile quarterbacks, I'm picking Indianapolis. Cleveland travels to Seattle in Week 8, and I think the 12th man will make a difference in a Seattle win. Both Houston and Carolina will be coming off byes when they play each other Week 8. Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud were the top 2 picks in the last draft, and both should start this game. Picking this game right now is a coin flip, so instead of making a forced decision, let's leave this one open and take the 38 games we already picked in this episode, add them to the 180 games we previously picked in the first 6 episodes, and then we've officially picked more than 80% of the 2023 regular season schedule. Thank you very much for watching episode 7 of our preseason series. If you would like to be amongst the first to know when the next episode is available, go to footballelementary.com and sign up for the email list or follow Pro Football Max on the socials. Until next time.